To the room. Whew, another fun day. I can't believe it. We made it Thursday already. Got some kooky, crazy stuff, guys. The week is flying by. Welcome to the room. I am glad to have you. This is an educational room. Picture man. I like that, Ron. I'll take picture man. Guys, this room is not intended to tell you when to enter or exit the market. This room is intended to teach you how to make great decisions for yourself. I teach a very simple trend trade on two different platforms each and every day. I teach what's called a high probability trend trade, which means that everything on your chart says this is the one. From that high probability trend trade, you guys are going to find different ways to do cool things. That's really how the software works. I'm going to give you a path to success. I'm going to give you each and everything that you need to be able to do great things with this software. What you do beyond that foundation that we build together is entirely up to you. I'm always rooting for you, but your success will probably be dependent on what you put into your study, how much feedback you request, and all those things that we talk about every day. forexfactory.com/calendar, guys. This is where they let us know when there's high impact news. Today is Thursday. There were unemployment claims. Looks like it was pretty flat. I'm not sure if the market did anything. To be honest with you, I haven't really watched the market today. No other news for the remainder of the day. So we're just going to move forward and get going. This is TradingView. For those of you that don't know, this is what most of the people in the funding company are using. There's a lot of people in the funding company. I'm going to tell you right now, if you are one of them, and you're not in a semi-live account, if you're not consistent, the plan that I give you for TradingView is pretty darn cool. And I literally built it with John Novak to be able to pass evaluations. Pay attention. If you're using another funding company, and that's totally cool, right? That's everybody's right to do. The plan that I give for NinjaTrader has also been proven to be able to pass evaluations when you learn the simple rules. So what we're going to do is we are going to start on TradingView. I've decided to move that direction. We've been pretty consistent with it. NinjaTrader and TradingView are two different platforms using two different bar structures, guys. So you can't trade one like the other. So it's really important right now at 9 a.m. that you say, oh, I'm trading NinjaTrader. Let me pay attention. And not try to trade NinjaTrader like TradingView, or if you're on TradingView, it's imperative that you don't try to trade TradingView as though it were NinjaTrader. So we're going to start with TradingView. I've got a slideshow. Guys, I have already dropped your plan in the room. I give you the plan every day. I've also dropped the PowerPoint I used to teach. So what we're about to look at together, you have. TradingView has about 100 million users, guys. There's a reason that the funding company has gone that direction. It is very stable. It creates a lot of patience. If you classify yourself as a jumpy trader, as somebody that just gets excited from the motion and can't contain themselves, TradingView is pretty awesome. And what you're going to do is you're going to learn to read your charts. That's it. Everything that I teach in this room is a pattern. There's very little deviation. It is the same thing. We are going to define a trend because we couldn't possibly take a trend trade without a defined trend. We're going to wait for a fight within the trend. Some of you may know it as a pullback or a retracement. We're going to use entry rules to define right where that retracement is most likely to fail and utilize that point as an entry for what we call a high probability trend trade. If you're following rules, guys, it takes 3 rules on 2 charts to make it happen, regardless of the platform that you're on. And chart reading is about 90% of your day. There is so much doing nothing as a day trader. There is so much calm and patience, and maybe not calm for most of you, but you're just not in the market 24/7. Our generations, if you're anywhere near my age, have been told that inactivity is lazy and doing nothing, it makes you a sloth. And the only way to get ahead is to always be busy. Guys, trading is so counterintuitive. There is so much waiting in trading. but the professional waders typically do the best. So about 90% of your day is sitting on your hands. 10% of your day will be actively trading. But you're going to understand when you learn a trend trade, you're going to understand where the market is likely to continue. And when we say likely to continue, I mean that's the spot where the trend is likely to bounce and just keep going. You're going to understand where the market is likely to go, and this is going to become a great place for targets. And you're going to understand where the market is likely to stop. And this is going to grab the harnesses and yank back, or the reins, I guess, and that's going to keep you in that 90%. Man, I don't need to run into a brick wall. I choose to do nothing, and that's the hardest thing you'll ever do, is sit in the 90%. I'm going to give you simple rules. And they may not be simple on day one, but I promise you, if the only thing you focus on for the first 2 or 3 weeks with me is this one trade, don't worry about the money, don't worry about the wins and losses, just focus on the pattern, guys. It gets easy. And then as you do that, simulate and practice and try to follow the rules. Like, make a conscious choice. I don't want to break my rules. I really want to take the right trades. Because guys, when you break your rules, the market lets you win. It always does. It's like, oh, you know what? Andre, I know you're fighting everything. Here's $1,000. I want you to keep doing that because I got buddies that want to take your money later. And it's crazy, but that's how it happens. Short-term victories acquired through luck typically produce long-term failures. So this plan is designed to keep you focused on a process that you'll be able to prove wins more than it loses. Simplify. Oh my gosh, keep it easy, guys. When you look at the new user plans, they're very simple. There are checklists for entry, trading view, and no, we're starting with trading view, Rob. We are getting going on it, brother. There is 3 rules to enter a trend trade. On this same plan, there are 3 rules to enter a momentum trade, and at John Novak's request, I've added in the HVA trade as well. There's only 3 things. Guys, it is the world's shortest checklist to success, and all of it is patterns. So you've got to learn the pattern. The market doesn't care if you have rent due, and the market doesn't care that you got to buy a ring for Susie. The market doesn't know you exist. So what we do is we ride on the coattails of the people that are running the market. And this is your pattern. Actually, you know what? Before we do that, let me remind you, posting in the room is how you're going to get to where you want to be. Tracking your progress is how you're going to get to where you want to be. The people who take the most pictures typically find the most success, guys. And just not to brag, I'm just kidding. I'm totally bragging. 21,937 pictures. I posted in this room yesterday when I was doing some trading, taking 7 or 8 pictures, every trade that I take, going through management, going through entry, going through exit, talking about what I saw and what I did. If you really want to get to where you want to be, you should be taking and annotating 15 to 20 pictures a day. This is your pattern. Define a trend, wait for the fight, your entry, if the rules are met, will be where the fight is lost, and hope that the trend resumes. All of you in this room that are trading this methodology for the trend trade are showing me wins in the range of 75%. My own trading is very similar, but I don't want to use my trading. I want to use your trading. I want to say my students seem to be accomplishing around 75% wins. This is what they're telling me. Don't take my word for it. Learn this pattern, and you tell me what you're making happen with it. It takes 2 charts to identify a trend trade. There is a 15-minute chart. This is a big slow chart. It is defining direction, letting you know which way that trend is going. It is defining momentum. We're going to use that for management. You will. It's going to help you with key targets. And then it's also going to identify what we call a termination condition, an area where the next trade should not be taking because it could stop the market. Your 1-minute chart, guys, this is a fast one, but it's still pretty darn slow. At my age, try to hold your breath for a minute. You'll start turning blue towards the end. Guys, it shows you the immediate strength of the market using these little trigger lines. We're going to talk about those. And it shows you exactly where your entry comes from. This leads the way. This is the people in control. These are the men and women that establish those trends and give us our advantages. And then this is just little fighters. And we're going to pinpoint right where they're most likely to fail to enter the trade. We will use trigger lines on both charts. Your large chart has only what we call small triggers. And it's just two lines that work together. And your small chart will have small triggers and large triggers. Now, if you are only focused on the trend trade, you don't even need the large triggers. You could do it without them, only using the small triggers. Every chart has areas. Horizontal lines, these are one-to-ones, you don't have to know the name. Divergence highs and lows, you don't have to know the name. Mid bands and outer bands, you don't have to know the name. All you have to know is that any line on a chart can create a bounce. Any line on a chart can upset the apple cart. Any line on a chart can change the direction of the market. So we're going to make a choice right from day one to never initiate a trade directly into a line. That's all you need to know. You don't have to know how they're built, the math that goes into them, the programmer, or what he had for breakfast, guys. You do not have to know how to build a watch in order to tell time. Lines are bouncy. No, Cav, the triggers on the large chart are the small triggers for the time frame of that chart. I don't have any idea the math that goes into them, brother. No idea. I don't have to, though. That's the cool thing. I don't have to know how these are created. I just have to know that they're there, and I'm going to teach you how to use them. So first we define the trend, and Cav, here's our segue. The small triggers, let's just say the triggers. The triggers on the large chart will define trend. If they are up, so is the trend. If they are down, so is the trend. Is everybody cool with up and down? Because if you know the difference between up and down, you can always define a trend. And if you see trigger lines that appear to be going from left to right, that are flat, that are lifeless, that aren't just obviously pointed up or down, guess what? The people in charge of the market are struggling to define a trend. They are not sure if they want it to go up or down, which means you can't take a trend trade if they can't figure out which way they're going. So I will encourage you guys as brand new users, force those triggers to be one direction or the other, and it's okay to avoid. They're not. They're two different time frames, Cav. So they're moving averages built specifically to the time frame that they're on, which means that they don't line up, not on TradingView. One trigger is not the same trigger as the other, the way it is on NinjaTrader. On NinjaTrader, we use some cool voodoo to actually pull over and put the triggers on. But on TradingView, that's just not the case. I see where you're going because you're thinking synthetic triggers, right? Nope. They are independent. They run on their own. Two very different platforms. This is your new girlfriend. Don't try to make her kiss like your old girlfriend, guys. That'll get you in trouble. Triggers up, triggers down. Once we define the trend, the most important part of this plan, guys, don't trade into areas. It's rules 1 and 2. They are the exact same rules. 15-minute not trading directly into areas. And all that means is that when I go to my chart and I say, okay, my trend is up, do I have room before I hit something solid? Do I have room before I hit a line? Is there enough room for me to make money? If there is, let's call it a clear path. And if I define my trend as up and the market is already gone head first and is sitting right at one of those lines that could create a bounce, my rules say don't initiate a trade. That's it. It almost seems too simple, right? The triggers are down. Does everybody see it? And there is room before I hit the next line. Guys, give me a Y. That's your large chart read. That's all you need to know. The trend is down. I've got room to trouble. Everybody good with that? Give me a Y, TradingView users. Don't fall behind. If you do, it's your fault. Awesome. Everybody's good. So guys, once we have room on the big chart, that's when we turn our attention to the small chart. That's when we go entry hunting, guys. And rules 2 and 3 work together. you can't know one and not the other. So rule 2 says don't trade into areas the exact same way rule number 1 says it, but it says don't do it on your entry chart. But you have to know where your entry comes from to make sure that you're not trading into an area. So these two go hand in hand. So let's look at defining an entry, and then we'll go back to that simple concept of don't trade into something that can create a bounce. So for a long trade, when the large chart triggers are up and you have room to make money, the trend is up, and you're going to see it on the small chart. You're going to see all these up bars. And this is where the fear of missing out grips you and grabs you and tells you, jump in, Darlene, jump in, Alex. Why are you not in this market? They're running without you. And then the pattern starts, and the pattern begins when the small triggers point down. And what this is, guys, is this is a fight, and this is the beginning of a retracement. And you can't have a trend trade as taught in this room if those small triggers don't roll down. And once they do, you're going to look lower. You're going to look for zones if you're using Chart Prime. You're going to look for a mid band. You're going to look for something bouncy, one of those lines. And when price gets there, there's a trick to not fighting the immediate strength. These small triggers are the immediate strength. So your entry isn't when the market hits the line, but rather when price bars, you get an up bar, a bar in the direction of your trade that closes above those small triggers. Both corners finish above those small triggers. And guys, that's your entry. This is where your small chart is most likely to bounce and continue in the direction of the large chart. So, whoops. I tried to snap a picture, but I was on video mode. Here we go. So the trend is up. And then there we have the beginning of our fight. And that fight doesn't change the trend. It's just a little retracement on the small chart. That's your fight. Rule 3 pinpoints where the fight is most likely to be lost. And a close on the correct side of the triggers is your entry. And hopefully, the trend resumes to trouble. This is your pattern. In a short trade, it's no different. First, the trend is down. We rely on the fight to get us as far away from our profit targets as possible. So when the small triggers roll up, this initiates the pullback. I'm going to look higher, and I'm going to look for something bouncy. In this case, the only thing is a midband. So I've got nothing to do for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, for 12 minutes. I'm in a state of waiting. For 12 minutes, I know exactly where my entry comes from. For 12 minutes, I'm just muttering under my breath. I need the pullback to the area and the down bar that closes below the triggers. And guys, that's your entry. And your trades look the same every time. First, it's a trend. Then it's a fight. Your entry is the same, whether it's a short entry or a long entry. It's finishing on your side, the trade side of those small triggers. Is everybody good with that? Honest to goodness, it's the same thing every time. Can you guys give me a why if you're okay with this? Trend, fight, continue. And if you look at some of the charts that are being posted in the room, I think, honestly, it's freaking brilliant. You guys are starting to use these arrows. Trend, fight, continuation. You're making sure that all the pieces of this pattern are in place. And man, that's some solid stuff. So now we've got our amazing entry, our solid entry, our highest probability entry. And guys, we got to make sure from wherever that close below triggers is, I've got room to make money. There are no lines in my way. How can we overcomplicate that? Well, Mark, what if it's a trigger line? That's not a horizontal line. That's not an area. Well, Mark, what if it's only $150? You have to decide what's right for you. Guys, from wherever your entry comes, just make sure you can make some money. And if you can't, be cool. Not taking the trade. Be all right with it. The futures markets trade billions every day with a buh. And man, I don't have to trade into a line hoping that that line breaks. I don't have to trade into an area hoping that the market magically smashes through. So when I see the fight and I define the entry, just nothing in the way. Everybody good with that? It's crazy, right? How on earth could 3 rules be enough to make money? How on earth could 3 rules be all it takes? Paul, you're my golden child today. When the trend is down and there is room to trouble, Paul waits for the fight. And look at this. Doesn't get in, won't do it, can't do it. Boom. The perfect entry. The perfect entry. He gets paid at the first sign of trouble. He had room to trouble, 225. That's more than enough. And Paul says, man, this market's screaming. Let's go see if they want to give me a little more. And they did. And this is everything that we just talked about. And that is $735 in Paul's account. And if Paul did that every day over the course of a trading year, it's $185,000 from the one highest probability trend trade. Now, the challenge is not taking the wrong trades and giving it all back. So, Paul, great job. Guys, it's just 3 rules. 2 of the rules are exactly the same. And if you can remember lines are bouncy, you'll never struggle with the first 2. You may need to practice the pattern a little bit on entry. But within the first week, and I know this is true because Lucy did it in the first week, and we don't know how smart she is outside of the room, but she's brilliant in the room. When the trend is up, we choose to go with it. And when there's nothing in the way, we have room to get paid. And when the market is all the way up here and the fight hasn't even begun, you know exactly where your trade comes from. Because your rules say, I'm going to buy a pullback in an area with a close above the small triggers. And if you learn that phrase, get it tattooed backwards on your head and stare at it in the mirror, guys, the only thing left to do is wait for it to happen. When the trend is up and there's room to trouble, when the small triggers roll, you know exactly where you need to see your rules met. And there's nothing to do between here and here. And guys, there may not even be something to do here if you don't get a close above the triggers. But until the market reaches an area, do nothing. Relax. Wait for your rules to be met. We did this one live where we actually put a box around our area, and it was about 9 minutes until the market actually showed up to that area. And then it was another minute until it closed below. And then it was only 2 minutes to make 30 points on a 5 lot. The wait is worth it. I promise, the wait is worth it. So now we're going to talk about stops a little bit, guys. All we've talked about is entries. Great entries create manageable trades. I want you to have your grandmother stitch that into a doily. Great entries create manageable trades. Great entries reduce risk. Great entries tend to maximize your profit potential. So I want you to just take into consideration that an uptrend means that the buyers are in control. Yesterday in the prop firm room, somebody was talking about, I think it was John Novak. He goes, the market is rigged. Hell yeah, it's rigged, guys. We all know the market is rigged. It's controlled by people with more money than us, right? There's a crowd of people that gather in the meadows and put something in the chicken to make you crave it Fortnite. But those people in charge love patterns. So our patterns, and that's NinjaTrader, but our pattern is designed to keep us in their good graces. And when they say up, the buyers are in control. Let's go with the buyers. There's our trend. And it relies on the sellers fighting. It relies on the people that refuse to believe that they're not in control. And when they push down, guys, you will see their failure point as a pivot low for a long trade or a pivot high for a short trade. And if you're uncomfortable or don't understand the concept of a pivot is a V. That's all it is. If the market goes up and down, that's your high pivot. And if it goes down and then up, that's your low pivot. And you'll see those pivots because it's the lowest point the bar's got. Your stops are going to go right below the seller's failure. And hopefully the buyers get back in control. So for a short trend trade, here's your fight, and there's your entry. And your stop will be about, I don't know, a point or two above that pivot high where the sellers or where the buyers failed. Because if for some reason the buyers decide to come back for seconds, you don't know just how hard they're going to push. You don't know if they decided to bring a gun to a knife fight. It's better to take the small loser than to put stops way off in the distance hoping nothing goes wrong. Guys, our methodology is so stinking precise, you don't need giant stops. You know that in an uptrend, the sellers fight. I can see the exact point they failed. My stop will go a couple points below it. And if the sellers fight again, shit, I'd rather take another entry than risk $1,000 hoping that it goes back up. Is everybody good with that? It's just recognizing where the fight was lost. So just for instance, the triggers are down, and these weren't rules-based trades, but there's your fight up. There's the exact point where the buyers failed. Your stop just goes above it. Everybody good with that? I'm telling you right now, guys, I see a lot of people taking unnecessary losses. Watch this. There's the pivot high of the fight. Right there. That bar. There's the buyers never being able to exceed it in this downtrend. And there's the market continuing down. Pretty cool, right? Smart stop placement, using the phrase where the market shouldn't go. All right, let's define support and resistance real quick. In an uptrend, if the market is going up, it has to be in an uptrend, right? Any area reached is an area of resistance. Now, one of the most important concepts in a trend trade is that short trend trades, selling the market, going down, happens from an area of resistance. You have to know that. In an uptrend, when the market is moving down, any area hit is an area of support. Long trades originate at an area of support. Everybody good with that? Resistance for a short trend trade, support for a long trend trade. This is where people start to get confused, right? Nobody's saying, yeah, Mark, I'm with you. You got to know that very basic concept. Short trades come from resistance, long trades come from support. Resistance can change its role. Support can change its role. If the market is cruising up and hits an area of resistance, the way it did right here that created a big ugly bounce, guys, that area of resistance is always resistance until you get a full body of a bar that closes above it, which means that all four corners of a bar are above the area that was resistance, and that this bar finishes and a new bar starts. If you see this, resistance turns into support. Long trades come from support. If the market breaks below support, full bar, four corners, bar finishes, new bar prints, support becomes resistance. Short trades come from resistance. Can you guys give me a why if you're comfortable? It takes a full bar above or below to change the role of an area. Cool. If the market doesn't give a full bar below support, support is still support. If the market doesn't give a full bar above resistance, resistance is still resistance. Long trades don't come from resistance. That close is what we call a prairie dog. A lot of you guys love to lose that trade. Well, maybe you don't love to lose it, but a lot of you guys lose that trade. Because when you're looking for a trade, you have to say a long or short trade comes from an area of support or resistance. And I'm trying to find the picture from this morning because, guys, this is a very common problem. When a full bar breaks above resistance, resistance becomes support. Short trades don't come from support. That was $400 that didn't need to exit an account from one simple rule. So you guys don't have to play along. I'm all right. I know this stuff. When you present in my room, do me this favor. This is all I ask of you. I don't ask a lot. If you really want help, if you really want to get better, if you are focused on following rules, guys, I want you to describe the trigger direction and tell me that you're trading with the trend. I want you to tell me that you had room to targets. I want you to use the verbiage as you learn this so you create a connection between what your eyes see and your brain needs to think. Because the small triggers rolled up, I need to pull back to an area. When I get to the area, I need to close below. And that is a trend trade, guys. And it's the same pattern every time. If you annotate your charts like this, you're going to get better faster. If you choose not to, if you are one of those people that just love to say, got in here, got out here. What the fudge, Mark? What happened? I don't know. Tell me what you saw. Tell me what you did. Tell me where you did it. Tell me why you did it. Guys, the feedback in this room is designed to take your chart reads and make sure that they're accurate. That's it. The triggers were down. There was room to trouble. The market pulled back to resistance. It did not become support. There was your close below at 84, 83.75. It made it all the way down to 77, at which point support created a big ugly bounce up. That was a trend trade that was worth about 7 points, about 140 bucks a contract. Some of you will take it, some of you won't, but guys, if you don't see it, you need to practice it. You need to post in this room. You need to ask for help. That's TradingView. What do you say we go to NinjaTrader? See what NinjaTrader's got in store for us. It's different than TradingView. Is it going to be quiet in here today? That's cool. Now, Don, you're trading the lookalike, brother. You just had your lessons. Guys, TradingView is not NinjaTrader. It's different bar structure. It's different time frames. No worries, man. But you still need to learn to read your charts. That's it. Read those charts. Let me get my pew-pew laser pointer. Pew-pew. Same thing. The market defines a trend. Let's go pinpoint where the fight's likely to be lost using very specific language to make sure that you know exactly where your trade comes from. And let's hope they resume. The path is the same. Post in the room. Track your progress. Ask for help. Guys, one of the things that came with your software, one of the things that comes with your demo is feedback. If you don't ask for feedback, my goodness. You guys know that like Tiger Woods, Wayne Gretzky, Serena Williams, Scotty Scheffler, like all these people have coaches, and all they do is look at what their clients do and say, hey, here's how you do it better. I'm your coach. It takes 3 rules to define the highest probability trend trade Nexgen teaches. It only takes 2 charts to make it happen. And guys, how's this for simple? On your large chart, your big chart, your slow chart, it takes 1 bar. The most current bar will define direction, momentum, and areas. The most current bar will give you your first 2 rules met. Inside of that bar that gives you 66% of the advantages that create a trade, you'll see the fight, the bounce, the continuation if it's a winner. All of this happens inside of that. Your large chart advantages never go away during the perfect trend trade. You'll be able to define entry. You'll be able to reduce risk. You'll be able to maximize profit potential. 3 rules, 2 charts. Areas are bouncy. They're on both charts, guys. Areas are bouncy. Trigger lines. Same thing. Small triggers, large triggers. Going to use them to define momentum for rule number 1. Going to use them to define termination conditions for rule number 2. Going to use the big ones to define your perfect entry. All of this magic, a trade that you'll be able to prove that gives you the potential to win typically 70 to 80% of the time. Takes 2 charts and 3 rules, guys. And when a rule is met, it creates an advantage. So the recipe for a trade, and what I'm encouraging all new users to do, is stop looking for the money. Look for 3 advantages that create the perfect trade, because once you have this under your belt, once you know what creates the perfect trade, you'll be able to see more and do more and find more if you feel like you need to. So the first rule says that the large chart needs strong triggers. This is your large chart. Strong triggers will have nothing to do with price bars, and strong triggers will have nothing to do with areas. It's just small and large triggers working together to produce the advantage of momentum, guys. So in an uptrend, your background will be green to define that uptrend, red to define the downtrend. When the small triggers break above and away from the large triggers, when the large triggers are wide, angled in the direction of the trade, all of your colors match. If all of your colors don't match, the triggers don't line up with one another color-wise, rule number 1 is not met. If the trigger colors don't match the background, rule number 1 is not met. Guys, strong triggers is one look. Separation is strength. And it looks like scissors that have opened up and have decided to cut. That's it. In a downtrend, smalls are below the large. All the colors match. It's that separation between the small and large. If it's a little bit of separation, if it's a lot of separation, if those scissors are open, the odds are favorable for the market to continue in the direction of the trend. The odds are favorable. You're going to see OFM on charts all day long. Odds favorable momentum, pushing a market in the direction of the trend. If there is no separation, if the scissors are closed, sad face, guys, anything can happen up or down. This is weakness compared to strength. Odds are favorable. Anything can happen. Only one look has me looking for rule number 2. It's just a flow chart. If I have strong triggers, then I'll look and make sure there are no termination conditions. And if there are no termination conditions, that means that I have that clear path, that same idea that there's room to make money. And guys, termination conditions, you guessed it, are bouncy things on a large chart. So when the market's moving up and it hits an area of resistance, and it doesn't matter which line it is, if the market was moving up and hit it, it's an area of resistance. Your trigger lines are going to tell you the story. When the market comes down and hits Fibonacci support, the trigger lines are going to tell you the story. We are 100% done with price bars as soon as they reach the area. Picasso scissors. If none of your triggers, all 4 of your triggers remain below an area of resistance, that area of resistance is a termination condition. This is what it looks like in the moment. Most current bar, hit an area, triggers below, absolutely no trades into that area. One of 3 things is going to happen. That area is either going to break, and the areas break all the time. That area is going to reverse the market completely, and that's going to call it a strong top or a strong bottom. And a strong top or bottom, a 0 triggers through, a termination condition that reverses the market, is the precursor to the highest probability trend trade you could ever take. It's also rule number 1 for the second trade on the plan that I give you. The other thing that could happen is there may just be a big fight between the buyers and sellers, the people in control. And here's the sad truth, or maybe the happy truth. You'll never know what's going to happen. You'll never know if it's going to break. You'll never know if it's going to reverse. You'll never know if it's going to fight. So if price reaches an area and none of your triggers get through that area, and I'm telling you, every line you reach will be a termination condition, at least for a moment, just don't initiate a trade. Don't start a trade up directly into something that's been defined as a termination. Is everybody good with that? Guys, these areas are respected by the people in charge because these areas are created by the people in charge. And I just closed out my large chart. Dagnabbit. That's okay. We'll look at crude oil. Price reached support and none of the triggers broke. And there's that big untradeable bounce. Price reached it again. And you can see the market bouncing right at Fibonacci support. Resistance creates a big bounce right back to support. The whole move up started from the freaking tick at an area of support with no triggers through. Do you guys see it? Guys, this isn't me going back and showing you pictures from the one day it happened to work out. This is rule number 2, keeping next-gen traders from handing their money over to the forces that be, from staying on the good side of the people in charge. If an area is going to break, triggers tell the story. No triggers, no trade. Bright red. Learn that phrase, guys. No triggers, no trade. It is every bit as important as separation of strength. If 2 triggers smash through the area with momentum, the area has the potential to break. But guys, everybody lean in. Put your ear to the speaker. I'm going to tell you a secret. This is a pretty cruddy look for a breakout. And these will probably lose more than they win if you try to bank on that potential to break. The plan I give you gives you an edge, gives you an advantage, is designed to optimize your chances of success. And it says that if you want to trade the potential of an area to break, 3 of the 4 trigger lines should be through that area. Now, half my class doesn't care about the 3 trigger rule, and they will trade the 2 trigger. They've got more experience than you new users. If you're a brand new user, 3 is your number. But it's still not a clear path. We're managing assertively. We're taking quick profits. When 4 trigger lines get above that area, not price bars, doesn't matter what color the fib is, if 4 trigger lines get above that area is now broken. That path is now clear. Both rules 1 and 2 are met on the most current bar. It's time to go look for an entry. Let's go to the most current bar. Rule number 1 says separation is strength. Small's above the large, larger opening up. Ladies and gentlemen, that's momentum. Do you see it? That's rule number 1, in the moment, live. Rule number 2 says if price reaches an area, there's Fibonacci resistance. You won't see it printing behind the most current bar if it's not native. Price reaches resistance. All the triggers stay below, and here we go. Momentum for the win, right? That was a termination. We're still in termination mode. And then it hits the next line, and we're like, son of a gun. How am I ever going to get a trade if there's all these stupid lines on my chart? Guys, this is 90% of your day. 90% of your day is waiting, is doing nothing, is being patient, is insisting that the market give you everything that you need because your money is important to you. Waiting for a clear path is the highest probability scenario. Guys, you can get a clear path from a breakout when all 4 triggers go above. You can end up with a clear path from a reversal. 2 ways to make it happen. You have to count triggers 4 above with momentum. This tail, these tails, that's that fight. You don't see it on a large chart. On a large chart, it looks like it pooped a little black line and kept going. On a small chart, you're going to see an entire fight. You're going to pinpoint where that fight is most likely to be lost. You're going to watch it go in the direction of your trade and a successful trade. And when you come back historically, your large chart's just going to have a tail. The momentum never went away. The clear path never went away, guys. We're going to use a refinement chart, a small chart, a fast chart to give us the most kick-ass entry you've ever seen. And the language of entry will put you in right where you need to be. So I talk a lot about language. I'm a little bit of an English lit nerd. Separation is strength. That lets me know that rule number 1 is met. Price reaches, no triggers, no trade. That lets me know that I have to sit on my hands. Now we're going to get into the language of entry, guys, and it just defines it beautifully. I'm going to use a limit order, which means that I am so freaking awesome that I'm going to wait for the market to come to me. And I'm going to buy or sell a pullback. That little push against the large chart trend, that's going to start with a reversal bar. Instead of the rolling triggers, we look for a reversal bar. I'm going to buy or sell that pullback at an area. Areas are bouncy. You should already have that etched into your desk. Fibonacci support or resistance, yellow 1-to-1s are a mid-band. These are the areas where trades originate. But those areas have got to be, must be, need to be inside of triggers. Large triggers on your entry chart show you where the area needs to be for the best entry. Large triggers on an entry chart, there's two sets. And calves, here's where we got a little confused, right? There's two sets. There's smooth ones. Those are native to the 5-1, your entry chart. You could look at separation and say, wow, I've got momentum on my small chart. And then there's the step triggers. You're not my real triggers. These are nothing more than the large triggers from the large chart, guys. And if you look at a large chart and you put a circle around those large triggers, and then you came to a small chart, the small chart would show you exactly where those large triggers are. So there's my large chart, large triggers, and then check it out. We'll use a box. There is my small chart, large triggers. These work together. So a market may retrace anywhere, whoops, get over here, from the small chart, large triggers, to the large chart, large triggers. That's your retracement zone. That's where the fight up may go, could go, is likely to go. But triggers aren't bouncy. We need areas. We need fibs. I've never actually taught it like this. We need a fib. We need a mid-band, or we need a yellow 1-to-1. Guys, that box right there from the lowest point of resistance to the highest point of support, that's precisely where the market is most likely to bounce and continue in the direction of all that momentum. And it's just a pattern. A reversal bar begins the pullback. It's not the entry. It's just the beginning of a fight. Your trigger lines define the retracement zone. That's not an entry. Trigger lines are like clouds to a skydiver. They're typically not as bouncy as we wish they were. Areas inside, fibs, midbands, yellow 1-to-1s. It creates a window. We call it the window of opportunity. Ric Flair just calls it the woo. From the highest point to the lowest point is where this market is most likely to bounce and continue in the direction of the trend. We're not waiting for closes above the small triggers. That's trading view. Your limit order goes above the highest point of support, the closest point of support to that reversal bar, because you have to remember your large chart has all the momentum and nothing in the way. There is no reason on God's green earth that market should bounce and turn. So we're not going to trip over a couple pennies hoping to save a few dollars. Your entry for the highest probability trend trade Nexgen teaches comes from the highest point of support inside of triggers. Once you get below these triggers, it's game over. Rule number 3 is not in play. You no longer have an advantage. Absolutely no entries are taken from the wrong side of the triggers. In a downtrend, just what we looked at from the live market, large triggers are down with momentum. Large chart says down, there's momentum, there's a clear path. Sorry, I'm stumbling over my words. Reversal bar begins the pullback, is not my entry. Trigger lines define where the pullback is most likely to go. And guys, it can go anywhere from the bottom to the top. Rule number 3 is still cool with me, as long as it's in that range. Your entry comes from the lowest point of resistance inside of triggers. Learn that magical phrase. I'm going to sell a pullback at an area inside of triggers. You know exactly where your trade comes from. You know exactly where the market should not go. Guys, by defining where the market is most likely to continue, that's the wrong picture, you have defined where the market should not go. Your initial stops in the plan that I dropped in this room for all of my new users say that your stop will be 4 to 5 ticks beyond the triggers. Because if it gets there, your advantage is gone. If it gets there, you don't know if, when, or where the market's going to continue in the direction of the large chart trend. It's better to take a small loss and live to fight again than to put a giant hope stop out there and just pray the market doesn't hit it. Once you get to the wrong side of the small triggers, you just don't know if, when, or where the market is going to continue. Let's see if we can find an example. No areas inside of triggers and a very clear uptrend. And it blows all the way down to Fibonacci support. Here it bounces off an area, there it bounces off an area, here it bounces off an area. But once there's no areas, pretty hard to predict. And there it is again, guys. Learn that phrase, where the market should not go. It'll reduce risk. And then there's your 2-chart pattern. Trend is defined on the large chart through the background color. Momentum is defined on the large chart by separation, because that provides strength. Path is defined on the large chart. And with 4 triggers above the area, with all that momentum, with everything good going in favor on the large chart, you are instantly going to say, damn it, Mark, there's not enough room to make money. Look at that termination condition. I can't take a trade. And then I'm going to remind you, price must reach that line for it to be a termination condition. Guys, until price hits it, that thing's a target. That thing is a bull's eye, exactly where I'm trying to go. And if I learn the patience and develop the trust to wait for the pullback, that's the tail. You can't predict where the tail is going to be on a large chart. But if I wait for the pullback to an area inside of triggers and I take that trade, magically, I have what can only be described as an awful lot of room before I hit something solid. Plenty of room to make money. And because I waited, I've got the least amount of risk. Great entries create manageable trades. Guys, you can go back and study this. Go back on a large chart. If you see a tail where the rules are met, that's a small chart. Where it has the potential to break, where it has momentum, this is exactly what we looked at together. Pulls right back to resistance inside of triggers, never goes where the market shouldn't go, and just continues down. And then if that wasn't enough, they did come back with 3 triggers through and hit the area of resistance inside of triggers, and down it goes. And guys, that was 9:30 a.m. today. I didn't go back 5 years to cherry pick this to try to impress you with my knowledge. Guys, this is today. This is in the now. This is a market that is trading live right in front of you. There's another one of those tails at 8:10. Let's go see what it looked like. There's no, oh, it might have missed us by a tick or two, but there's that darn pattern. There's the fight. There's the area. There's the continuation. Are there any questions about high probability trend trades? All you have to do is learn a couple rules, recognize a pattern, and learn how to sit on your hands until your rules are met, because your rules provide what's called an edge. And an edge means that whatever pattern you're trading can be proven to win more than it loses. So guys, when all 3 items are on there, before you learn a trade, learn the advantages. When all 3 are present, you have a trade where each indicator on every chart agrees with the rules for the trade. That's the high probability. If you look at TradingView, hold on. I think I did it this way. When you have direction, clear path, and an entry area, it's high probability. That's the one you guys are showing me at like 75%. If one of those advantages goes away, if you only have a clear path and an entry, this is where the majority of your trades are going to come from. We call it medium probability. And medium probability means that most of your indicators line up for a trade. However, a small issue exists. I would implore you to let your issue be singular. Don't let it be issues. That's a medium probability trade. This will be the majority of your trade. This is a trade that must be managed a little more assertively. Maybe quicker profits, get to break even a little bit sooner. And if 2 out of 3 go away, there's got to be a point in your life where you're like, you know what? The futures markets trade billions hourly. I don't have to put myself in a low probability trade. My methodology is better than that. And you'll learn to sit these out, guys. You're in control of the entry. When you know what's working for you and against you, it helps you make decisions not only on entering, but also how to manage. If it is medium probability, the phrase take and manage should be in your head before you ever enter the market. If you're missing maybe the clear path, and guys, a lot of you take these, take and manage has got to be in your head. So learn the basics. There's my lookalike. For you guys that are stuck on NinjaTrader and can't give it up, this is a lookalike. Let me reload historical data, see if that helps. It is 15-minute, it is 1 minute, it is triggers, it is areas. Instead of those zones, you actually have Nexgen's Fibonacci. I like this one. It's the exact same rules as this one. Was that a trend trade up? Triggers were up. Might not have had a clear path yet, but that sure is a pullback to support with a close above at 60. 72 was the next sign of trouble. That's 12 points to get to the first sign of trouble. And if you're feeling a bit randy and wanted to hold for the big move, you made it all the way up to 27. So from 60 to 27 is 87 points in the NASDAQ. That's about $1,600 per contract. Some of you have clackers of steel, ovarian fortitude, and you love large chart targets. Some of you want to make it incrementally, small moves, quick profits, get in, get out. Neither of you are wrong, guys. Find your way. Learn one trade. Learn to do it freaking amazing. And find your way to navigate day trading. And as you do it, just ask for help. Just ask for help. That's what I'm here for. So I'm going to go to the second hour, and we're going to look at all the charts that are posted in the room. And I'm not going to play the trade police, guys. That's not my job with you. I do that and on everything else. My job is to look at the advantages on your chart. My job is to look at how you read them. My job is, if you post in my room, Cav, let's see what you have. You're my example right now. Triggers down like scissors. Absolutely nothing in the way. There's the pullback to the mid band inside. And Cav, you are still convinced that the triggers are your entry, and that's okay. But it cost you a little bit. It increased your risk just a little bit. But it's still the perfect trade with the perfect result. Great job. Cav says, I know where the market is likely to retrace. I know where the market shouldn't go. I don't want to miss this trade. I'll pay a little extra. Great trade, Cav. Thank you for letting this be a great trade. Yeah, I'd be happy to, Jim. Let me grab that for you right now. I saved it as a zip file for you guys. Here you go. So you're going to want to extract that zip file over to Documents, NinjaTrader 8 Workspaces. Just extract everything in there. Reboot Ninja, and it'll be there for you. Great trade, Cav. But guys, this is what you get every time you post. And you want to see what else you get? Hey, Cav, why didn't you share this trade? What happened here? Was it good? Was it bad? Did you make money? Did you lose? Let's go see. Guys, winners are awesome. There's nothing more impressive than a big swinging giant salami to make a sandwich with, right? But that's perfect. Show me your losers. Show me all of your trades if you're learning it. Cav's not at that point, but that'll be my point. A lot of times new users will show me a $500 winner and then show me their P&L at negative 600. We have to figure out how to eliminate that $1,100 worth of losses so that we can really enjoy the spoils of our greatness. So Cav, great job on that. Thank you for the example there. Great annotation, not little incomplete, but cabs at a different point. While you're learning the software, momentum, path, and entry, guys, talk about it every time. We are into trouble. And let's look at the regular Renko. Boom, 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 boom. You know what? I'm going to bring the S&P back up because I messed that up. So while that loads, I'm going to stretch my legs, guys. I encourage you to do the same thing. Nobody should sit in front of a computer screen for 8 hours straight. That can't be good for you. I'll be back in about 5 minutes, and then we'll start looking at the pictures you guys posted. All right, my friends. This is my favorite part of the day. This is where we get to where we get to talk about everything that you guys are doing. And I want to show you something. And I'm gonna share this, and I'm just gonna click through and get all the links. Um, bum, 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 that have been presented in the room. All right, scrolling down. There's one from yesterday afternoon. And now as we come through, there's another. Throw that in there. Boom, 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 boom. The Pete Show. I love it. If you guys want to see how important momentum and path is, pay attention when Pete starts showing charts, guys. He is the momentum and path marauder. All right. And then I wanted to show this too. For those of you that don't know, John Novak has been working tirelessly with programmers for the better part of a year now. And small chart is finally a part of it, guys. With momentum and the potential to break the entry, and it's just awesome. It's freaking amazing. I've been doing so much study with this thing. I love it. I hope you guys love it too. Should be released soon. I think he's going to do a short run on ownership, and then it's going to be a lease. Something to think about. All right, guys. This is me yesterday. This is what I do when I'm doing my other job. This is all simulation, but it doesn't change anything really. The triggers were down. I had room to trouble. Pulled back to the area and closed below. That's my entry. As the market comes down, let's see what happened. I'm not sure. Pulls back. Oh, look at that. I added on to my position. Stop is in place. Locking in profits. Getting paid on the way down. There's the perfect entry. This is all one trade. Fight and fail. Creates a new stop. I've already been paid. I'm looking to be paid again. I've got no risk on a trade. Comes down. Hits the second target. All from one trend trade, guys. All from one trend trade. And then my rules are met again. So I added my 3 contracts back on. Goes right to my target. I'm break even once again into the zone. And then that's what we call bingo. Going exactly where we wanted it to be. And it all started with one trend trade. Now, guys, this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pictures taken throughout the duration of one trade. You can present it like this in the room. Because the triggers were down, there was room to trouble. Pull back to an area with a close below. You can see where profits were taken. There's the add-on. There's the completion. All it is a trend trade, guys. That was about $1,100 worth of trading over the course of, I don't know, maybe a 15-minute trade. That's not a bad way to make a living. I share that not to brag. I share that to say I'm not only the president of the Hair Club for Men, I'm also a member. Guys, it works. The triggers are down. No trouble. Pull back to the area. Closes below. The zones weren't there at entry. These will shift. And it's a beautiful trade. And it's the exact same usage of a trend, of a fight, of a resumption. Triggers are down. Room to trouble. And here's the challenge. If price bar finishes above resistance, resistance becomes support. Absolutely. No trades are taken from an area of support. And sure enough, this one fails. This is what we call an avoidable loss. This is a loss that doesn't fit the rules, guys. Rules will change. Your plan will be flexible, but not in the moment. There are no mental plans. If you begin to see things that you want to do outside of your plan, your core plan, you need to rewrite another plan. You need to go through the process of proving that whatever you're looking for wins more than it loses. Um, Emotional adjustments typically result in failure. Triggers down, not a clear path. Paul chose to take it without the clear path. From your entry, Paul, I'm going to disagree with you though. You got in with room to trouble. You chose to hold. Big difference. The room was there. The pullback was perfect. The entry was phenomenal. And he gets paid at trouble. And then he holds it to the next trouble. But at the time of entry, you had room to make money on both charts. Does that make sense, Paul? Just because you hold through an area, the rules are for entry, and you nailed it. Perfect. 100%. And for those of you that don't know, 90% off resets. Victor, I couldn't make it free for you. 90% off resets, guys. I think that comes up to like $6 to reset your account. You guys that are really pushing to get evaluated, want to be over leveraged, this is like your moment for the next 2 days. Triggers are up. Weak bottom, triggers rolled, clear path, 95. So the first trade comes from right here, Pete. You're pointing up here, but the first trade is all the way back here. You take a little momentum style entry. With everything working out, it goes right to trouble. Look at that exit. Freaking amazing. Pete says, I see this line. I recognize this line as an area that can stop the market. What a great place to get paid. I love it. And then look what happens. It does create a bounce. He doesn't suffer that bounce. And when everything breaks back above, Pete's like, let's go again. What do you say? Boom. Rockstar. Everything is down. 95, 95. Pete has room to trouble. Jumps the fudge in with all that momentum. Gets paid on the way down. Gets out when the momentum starts to subside. Gets back in on the perfect trend trade. And makes more money on the way down. Pete, they even tried to fool you with a fib update right in the middle of your trade. You're like, momentum's on my side. Let's make some money. Great job, Pete. Triggers up. Only 2 triggers through. Divergence. Areas not inside, right? Missing the clear path. Missing the area inside the triggers. Pete says, I'll take it anyway. I love that level of momentum. I believe in momentum. I have rule number 1 as momentum for a reason. And Pete, you just do an awesome job capitalizing on the momentum, finding a way to make profits. Guys, it's not a high probability trend trade. It doesn't have to be. Don't be the trade police. If you do anything at all, recognize that with momentum and path, and especially momentum leading the way, you're going to find a way. And Pete, absolutely beautiful. Knowing where the market is likely to go, choosing to get paid there instead of suffering through retracements. There it is again. Same thing. Pull back to the fib inside of large triggers, but no momentum, so no trade. And Pete, no momentum, no clear path. Didn't get sucked in on the siren song. Pete said, 50% of my advantages are gone. I choose not to enter. That's experience. That's experience. Nicely done. This looks like, this is a pretty chart. Is this 10K? Who showed me this one? This is, this is 10K, right? What's up, 10K? Yeah. Everything is down. Nothing but room. There's the pullback. That one would have qualified for sure. Both bars are right for the entry. First one just didn't work. I love that you put that on there. First one just didn't work. And if I'm not mistaken, 10K, I was messing around and I took that exact same trade and got my ass kicked the exact same way you did. It just didn't work. It's part of it. And then there's the next perfect one. And you're like, that's enough room for me. I'll take this trade. And that's the one that worked. Guys, you can't base your plan on one trade. Anything that wins 70 to 80% of the time, guys, it loses 20 to 30% of the time. It's the focus on the execution of the method that tends to produce results. Great job, 10K. Your charts are always so stinking pretty. And Cav, we saw this one. Momentum, path, pullback, money. Momentum, path, pullback, money. All right, Miss Lucy, let's see what you do. Wow, that's huge. It's a downtrend. You have room to trouble. There's the fight. There's the pullback to the area. There's the close below. And there is Miss Lucy taking the exact same trade that 10K took and said, man, it just didn't work. Miss Lucy, fantastic trade. Perfect usage of the rules. Awesome execution. Everything makes sense. Those jerks just wanted to push a little higher. It's a cost of doing business. Triggers are down. Bars are on the weak side. Pulls back to the mid-band. Closes below. Is this the same one again? And it just doesn't work. Was this, hold on. Terry Cano, is this you? Welcome to the room, dude. Good to see you posting. Or ma'am, I'm sorry, I can't tell. I can't tell. Can I give you one little lesson? Everything's beautiful. Everything is gorgeous. Everything is fantastic. Everything fits rules. Can I give you one little something something? You cool with that? We're about to make losses smaller. Here's your fight. There's your pivot high. Maybe at 89. You didn't need to wait all the way to 96, right? That's where the buyers failed. Right there. Let's get rid of these bad boys. Right there is where the buyers failed. That's about 89. Maybe 91. Maybe 91-ish is a pretty solid stop placement. Does that make sense? Man, we don't have to risk that much. We're freaking awesome. So that 5 points, I want you guys to see something pretty cool about good stop placement. That 5 points is worth $100, right? Whatever, it's $100. I blow that at the movie theater with my kids. But that $100 over the course of a trading year is pretty substantial. It's the little things, guys. It's the management. And I love this trade. And I love that there's 3 of you that took it and lost it. Not that I'm happy about your losses, but it means that you get the plan. Stop place beyond the 1-to-1. It's just not nearly as safe as you thought it was it, Terry? So why risk that much? Because once they get above it, once they break that pivot high, I have no idea how high they want to go. It's just, I don't know. I just don't know. So, nice little management lesson for everybody. If you take the trade, remember, trades fail. You don't have to put an enormous amount of risk on a trade. Just get that stop where the market shouldn't go. And then there we are. Momentum, path. There's the fight. There's the entry. Half off at trouble because trouble can stop a market. Second half going down there. Pretty cool, right? Everything that I have taught in this room for 6 years rolled into an automated system. All right, Dono, let's see what you did. Small triggers are down. Yeah, they are. Your rules say only short. I love that. Prices on the weak side at entry. We're going to talk about what that means in just a minute. But small triggers are very strong. No. Dono, you're making shit up. Prices on the weak side, but anytime you guys show me your butt, something's about to go wrong. 1 minute chart rolled at the mid-band. Who cares? That's not a rule, right, Dono? Small triggers on their own can't be strong. Here's a quick lesson, guys. Small triggers on their own just can't be strong. We define strength. We've always defined strength. We have, without hesitation, defined strength as a separation between the small and large. Don, your triggers are either up or down. How easy is that? Let's take some of those opinions out of it. Plenty of room to the outer band and fib. I have room to make money. There's the fight. There's the close below. Beautiful. Went right where it was supposed to, didn't it? When you say, is this a rejected trade, what does that mean? Small triggers rolled up, so I need to pull back to an area, mid-band and 1-to-1s, then a down bar that closes below my small triggers with room to trouble. When you say, is this a rejected trade, what you talking about? Why? You said that the triggers were down. You said that you had plenty of room. You waited for a pullback to the area with a close below. Did something happen that I can't see? No. I see what you're saying. Okay, Don. So let's go into that lesson, okay? I see what you're saying now. Guys, I'm telling you, I'm a man. I don't always communicate well. Sometimes you got to take the laser pointer and get it all the way to my food dish if you want me to eat. So Don, I've got you right now. Don says, Mark, I'm on the weak side of the triggers. So let's go define that for everybody. Thank you, Don. You just opened the door for an awesome lesson. When you guys look at your large chart, so I'm going to do it like this. Here's the first look, and the triggers are up, and there is room to trouble. That's the initial read, right? And Don, you said, my triggers are down and I've got room to make money. That's the most important thing. That's the only thing that falls into the rules. Does that make sense, Don? When you look at the rules for the trend trade, hold on, here we go. Oh, I'm excited about today. I don't know why. When you look at the rules for the trend trade, it doesn't say anything about strong side, weak side, does it? No, guys, I can't think that much. So Don, what you did is you did the second step that sets you up for a little bit of management. So wherever the most current price is in relationship to the triggers, this is your little management cheat code. If I'm left of the small triggers, meaning above them in an uptrend, below them in a downtrend, no, not a bad move, Don. An awesome, awesome lesson in education, because if you don't make a mistake, you're not gonna know. But if you make a mistake, if we identify a mistake, if we have a conversation about fixing a mistake, suddenly you're a better trader. That's what we want. So guys, there's 3 places the most current price can be: left, right, or center. That's it, left, right, or center. In a downtrend, you can be left, right, or center. In an uptrend, you can be left, right, or center. Well, I've given them very clever names. If you are left of the triggers, whether it's a downtrend or an uptrend, this is the strong side of the triggers. This is the strongest push in that move. And this is why we don't enter on the strong side of triggers. This is where 1-minute areas have a better chance of breaking. I put most likely to break, but guys, I'm going to tell you right now, it is not a get out of jail free card for breaking that second rule. Just because you're on the strong side of the triggers, if you choose to trade directly into trouble, you are still more likely to lose than win. But from the strong side of the triggers, if it's got a better chance of breaking, you may say to yourself, oh, I'm going to try to hold for that bigger move. I'm going to see if we can't get to those further areas. Maybe I go break even, I protect myself, I'm not giving money away, but I may hold for a bigger move. That's all it means. Still just looking for a long trade. Now, if I'm on the right side of the triggers, this is the weak side of the triggers. And here's where the confusion came in. I am still 100% without question, still looking for my rules to be met for a long trade. Because Don, you can go from the weak side all the way to the strong side in 1 bar on that large chart. But what that 1-minute area, or what that weak side says to me, is that when I get to that area on my small chart, I may just get paid there. because I don't really have the push from the weak side that I like. And you guys will notice that reversals come from the weak side of triggers. And your trend trade entry comes from the weak side of triggers. But you can go weak side of the trigger 7, 8, 9, 10 times. Pretty easy. No worries. I love it. And then if your transition, maybe split targets. So Don, you did a great job identifying, and now we just needed a little refresher for what it means. Great job. And you're welcome. Guys, this is what makes the classroom great. When you guys say, hey, Mark, this is what I saw. This is what I did. This is why I did it. What do you think? And it just opens the door for a lesson. So, and look at that. Nothing in the way. All the way down. Don, this trade is like 32 flavors of kick-ass. I'm impressed. It's just one pattern, guys. That's it. It's just one pattern. Paul says, look, support's not breaking. Oh, wait, resistance isn't breaking. Don't trade in here. Don't know if it'll break up or down. So, Paul, are you saying, and let me put words in your mouth, are you saying that through rule number 2, you can clearly and accurately define a range, and you choose to do nothing until they break out of that range? My goodness, what an amazing advantage to have with this software, he said smugly to all of his friends in the room. Pretty cool, right? Great job. That's all the pictures I have. That's the S&P. That's all the momentum. That's the potential to break. That's a pullback to an area inside of triggers. There it is on a smaller scale, just for grins, 2 triggers through. There it is again, just for shits and giggles. Pretty cool, right? I have to stop swearing. Papa, I don't think I did, and I apologize for that. Hold on, let me find it. There it is. My bad, dude. My bad. Oh, it looks like we got some new ones in there, too. I love that. Phil dropped something in. Sorry, guys. I never do it intentionally. Papa. Dun, dun, dun. Triggers down, room to trouble, pull back to the area, close below. Can I ask, what is the first target? Is it the HVA line? You're like, I think I'll get paid there? Cool. So, and this is a pretty good example of why. If my first target is this line, I want to be above it, right? Because if I'm behind it, and it creates a bounce, I'm not going to get paid. Does that make sense? So if I need to check the trunk, I better not be standing on the other side of that wall. The trunk never got to me. And that's exactly what we saw in yours here, is they hit the HVA twice and started back up, and because you were on the wrong side. So just a little heads up there. Guys, if I'm taking trades and I have my targets in place, let's just say I'm in the long trade, right? Your guts are going to tell you, get paid at the furthest point. That's where the most money is. Is it okay to get paid 5 or 6 ticks before the furthest point? I think it is. Is it okay to get paid just a little bit before? Because what happens is we're good with our patterns. We're freaking amazing with our patterns. But we're still not in control. And the goal of everything is to get paid, guys. And there's a big difference between taking what the market gives and taking what you want out of the market. And typically only one of them works out well for us. Look at that. Price reached the yellow 1-to-1. And that's where the market absolutely rocketed down. Look at the size of that 15-minute bar. Holy smokes. And if you took that long trade there, Don, maybe you did. You had an awesome target, didn't you? I hope you grabbed that one. I don't think these two come through. Oh, they do. Triggers up, room to trouble, pull back. Oh, that's an HVA. That's not a midband. I thought there was a midband hidden back there. Never gave an entry after that. Beautiful. Beautiful. Predictable. Repeatable. Testable. Insatiable. How we feeling? Did you guys know that the only people that won't get help in my room are the people that don't ask for it? The only people that don't get clarity on their questions are the people that don't ask for it. The only people that don't get the help that they need to find success are the people that don't ask for it. So it's fun to sit on the sidelines and not make yourself vulnerable and put yourself out there. Guys, it sucks in regards to learning to trade. Use the coaching. The coaching, it works. I'm telling you it works. It's worked for me over the last 6 years. John Novak has been my coach for 6 years. And he has beaten me up 32 ways every day. Why would you do that? Did you not see this? Look at this. This is how you fix it. Mistakes are where we go next level, guys. Mistakes are where good things happen to traders. Because until you learn how to eliminate your mistakes, you're just going to keep making them. It's fact. It's fact. So let me share the Mark Novak story. For those of you that don't know me, here's a little bit something about me. I was in the restaurant business for almost 30 years. I was a GM of a restaurant. Really good at it. Loved my job. Really did. Loved my job. And in January of 2020, I had my second spine fusion. And that was it. I can't stand for more than like 20 minutes at a time. My career is over. And COVID happened to hit too. I had some time on my hands. And John Novak called me up and he said, hey, it's probably time for you to learn how to trade. It is probably time for you to take this amazing software that I've been teaching people to use for the last 20 years and learn how to use it. And John Novak said, this is what I need you to do, Mark. I want you to write down these rules. They're very simple. There's only 3. It only takes 2 charts. I want you to write them down. And then after you write them down, I want you to go back and I want you to find 10 pictures of short trades that fit that rules. And I want you to find 10 pictures of long trades that fit those rules. And what you're doing, Mark, is you are committing the look to memory so that it's easy. And then most importantly, Mark, what I really need you to do, and this is my brother, and he loves me, but he's been putting up with people not following the path for 20 years. He goes, I need you to post in the room because I'm running a business and I can't do it all privately with you. So I want you to post in the room every trade you take, whether you win, whether you lose, whether it's break even. I want you to post it in the room and just let me give you some feedback so that if you are making mistakes, we can correct them. And he goes, and Mark, I'm going to give you a spreadsheet. So every time you do take one of those pictures, I want it to go into the spreadsheet. Had a trade tracking sheet. And I want you to have that picture annotated. And I want you to write down what I say. And guys, this was the plan that John Novak gave me. And it may sound familiar. It's the same thing that I say every morning to you guys. Well, some of you can't tell. But when John Novak told me to do that, I said, nope. I don't have to write down rules. I can remember rules. I don't have to focus on one trade. There's too much money. I don't have to post in your room. Dude, my last name is Novak. I should be rich by default. I was such an entitled little asshole. And I thought, this looks like fun. And I had already picked out the Audi A8 that I was going to buy. It was white, convertible. It was awesome. Same engine John had in his Lamborghini. I'm the first guy that ever did this, Don. And then I realized that it wasn't nearly as easy as I thought. And guys, I realized that it was hard because in the room, and I hate this word, I kept hearing that it's obvious. It's obvious that this is your entry. It's obvious that this is your stop. It's obvious that you shouldn't have taken this trade. And guys, that's utter poppycock. Forgive my language. It's not obvious if you don't do the study where an entry comes from. And it's not obvious that you shouldn't trade into a termination condition if you haven't gone through the process. But even though I thought it was hard now and not nearly as much fun, guys, I became a simulator millionaire. I had no idea what I was doing, but I had made that much money on simulator. I don't even know if that's a real number. And in my brain, I had bought simulator cars and mansions, and my wife had a simulator giant diamond ring. But what had really happened is I got lucky. I wasn't following rules. I'd never written them down. I wasn't following a plan. I didn't have one. And I said, I am such a badass. Like, I just called people. I talked to strangers on the street. I don't know if you know this, but I am so good at day trading. Look at my simulator account. And I went live. And I lost $5,000. This is before prop firms were really a thing. I lost $5,000 inside of 2 hours. And I still remember it like it was yesterday. And oh, it sucked. It was 21 trades. It was $5,000. And do you know what I did? Do you want to know how I handled it? I said, F John Novak. F the market. F this software. It's not my fault because I am so freaking good at this. It had to be somebody else. Had to be somebody else. And I got knocked all the way back to the I don't know shit stage. And this is where, and we've all been there. If you haven't been there yet, I hope that you never go. But when you get to this stage, you question everything. Maybe I can't be a day trader. Maybe the software is not for me. Maybe Nexgen is absolutely full of shit and I can't believe that I even fell for the snake salesman. How does a company stay in business for nearly 30 years teaching this garbage, right? And then, boom, 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 right there at the I don't know shit stage, oh, where'd my picture go? I said, you know what? I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to try his stupid little plan. And I'm going to actually write down some rules. And I'm going to learn what the rules mean. And I'm going to learn how to follow them. And I'm going to post in that stupid spreadsheet. Guys, $5,000 is a kick in the clackers that I didn't really want to take at that point in my life. I had just been carved up like a turkey. And I was unemployed. And at the time, and I'll never forget this, and I don't know why the number sticks in my head, and I think I even highlighted it. There were 279 spaces where it was filled out for you to put your trades. 279. And I got to the bottom, and I copy-pasted it on another one and another one. And I filled out three of those things with feedback from John. And I learned my entries. And I started right here. You know, yeah, he's been there, done that. So guys, I teach this classroom from the I don't know shit stage, if that makes sense. I teach this classroom doing the exact same thing that my big brother did for me. Here's how you get to where you want to be. Here's the path of least resistance. This is what's going to get you there sooner than later. And it starts to make sense, right? And right about here, where it actually makes sense, you think you're smarter than the plan. And you take a step back. And you're like, uh-oh. And a lot of us go all the way down to here. And you're like, wait a minute. I know this works. I'm so brilliant, and maybe you take a smaller step back. See if we can let Snag It catch up. We're doing a cha-cha. You lost 20. That is so small potatoes from some of the people that I've worked with. And then you do it, and it's a little smaller, and you do it, and it's a little smaller, and you'll never stop making mistakes. We all make mistakes. We're human. But what happens is you make fewer mistakes, or you make new mistakes. That's where the biggest step backs come from. Guys, Nexgen has been teaching people to day trade for nearly 30 years. Nexgen has been teaching the exact same program, the exact same plan, the exact same methodology. And if you look at the plan from 2004, it is a trend, it's a fight, it's a continuation. To say that, and I'm trying not to sound arrogant, I know what I'm talking about. I know how to get there. I watch it with you guys every day. When you just want the money and you don't want the process that creates it, and you spin your wheels and you struggle, and some of you go away, and it makes me sad. So this classroom is designed to get you on the right path, ASAFP. So if you're new in my room, you're probably going to go through this, because we all do. We're human, and we fight, and we're arrogant, and we're egotistical, and we have chips on our shoulders. And I don't know about you guys, but I was pretty freaking alpha in my career. I was the guy that called the shots. I was not the guys that took direction. I was entitled because I paid for software. I was entitled because my last name was Novak. But when you do the work, man, the results just seem to follow. So there is my little story of my life. So if you've ever wondered why I'm such a pain in your ass about annotation, if you ever wondered why I'm so adamant about let it be simple, it's because I have failed miserably. And there's this little human element of me that doesn't want you to have to go through it. But there's also this part of me that has absolved myself of the burden of your success. So if you choose not to follow the path, you get what you get. And I'll be here when you're ready. So how is that for straight from the pulpit, right? Welcome to Nexgen, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the nice Novak. I'm the warm, fuzzy Novak. My brother is so nice. He's one of the most generous humans I've ever met. But when he runs a room, he'll rip you a new one. Won't he, RJ? I see you typing. RJ remembers when John ran the room. You had to have your big boy panties on. You've got a similar backstory. RJ, I think we all do. I really do. I think everybody has a similar story with day trading. We wouldn't come to day trading if we weren't allured with the idea of the riches that it could provide, right? And this software is the greatest software out there. And John used to always say, if you can find better software, let him know, he'll buy it. Baptism by fire, cold hard cash. Yep. Well, and I'll tell you, when you're the GM for a restaurant, you're not sitting on cold hard cash like some of you guys with college degrees. Well, I had one, but it was worthless. And 99 of those doing well now have the same story. Absolutely. You got to learn what doesn't work, right? It's like dating before you marry the girl of your dreams. You got to figure out what you like. You got to figure out what speaks to you, what you just can't do without. Trading is similar, guys. I just try to get you there. It's like speed dating with Nexgen. So that being said, here's the NASDAQ. The triggers are flat. I can't decide if they're up or down, guys. I choose to not bother looking for a trade, because if the market goes up, these will have never been down. On the S&P, the triggers are down. And from where we're trading right now, if I get a close below small triggers, I've got room to the one-to-ones. If I get a close below the small triggers, I'm not trading into areas. If I get a close below the small triggers, guys, I am in a trend trade from the strong side of the triggers with a clear path. He did. He had a lot of restaurant guys. So RJ, true story. The restaurant that I bartended at in the Woodlands, Texas, and they're the same ones that I went on to be a GM for one day. John came in, sat at the bar one day. I got him drunk, and he stole 5 people. Jason and I from Tech waited tables together. Jeremy, no, it was Chewy's Tex-Mex. Chewy's Tex-Mex. Jeremy that ran the room, he and I bartended together. Lindsay Duff and I bartended together. James was not. James was not one of the Chewy's gangs. Guys, we got 45 seconds to see if we get a close below. But when you take a bunch of restaurant people, and John was too, John was restaurant, customer service is a natural gift. Doing everything you can for the customer. And if you've been with Nexgen for any amount of time, customer service is second to none. And that's just all ingrained. Jeremy was a good instructor. You know, I talked to him about a year ago. He was thinking about starting to trade. And of course, he's got lifetime access. And I'm not sure what happened. I'm not sure if he ended up doing it. I love Jeremy. I'm a big fan of Jeremy. Guys, we need to close below 83.50 to not be trading into trouble here. Do you guys see it? To be out of that large chart trouble, we can't take an entry higher than that green dotted line. Jeremy's great, people. He's awesome. I'm going to have to send him a message and tell him that we were talking about him today. He'll get a kick out of that. But Jason and Tech, oh my gosh, we waited tables together. His wife, we waited tables together. Whew. Are they going to run without us? Those sons of guns. They might, right? Let's see what happens in the next 21 seconds. I'm on the strong side. I've got nothing but room. I know where my stop has to go, and it's a pretty big stop. Is it worth it to have the perfect looking trade? 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, done, and go. We are in. Our stop is where the market should not go. Our profit targets, what do you think? Large chart puts us down here. Let's see what happens. Take care, Cav. Did you guys know that I've done everything I can do now? I've defined the trend. I've made sure that I had room to trouble. I waited for the pullback. I demanded the close below the triggers. And now the only thing left to do, watch this, we'll take half at an HVA if they get there. The only thing left to do is let the market do what the market does. Miss Kim 121 or Mr. Kim 121, I'm sorry, I can't tell with that name. Does that make sense? I know you're new. I know you're working on it, day 3. First the triggers are down. Then I've got room to trouble. It fought all the way back to resistance and 1-to-1s. There's the close below. And now we're at the mercy of the market. It's miss. Okay, thank you for that. And this one might be a loser. That's okay. I don't care. I'm on simulator. I'm learning. If this one loses, we'll post it in the room. We'll get some feedback. Maybe it's the perfect trade that didn't work. Maybe there was something that I didn't notice. Okay, so we'll use this one as an example. So Kim, I'm going to put my stop way where the market shouldn't get it. And I'm going to put my target way where the market shouldn't get it. So do you see how we're in 6 contracts? Bum, bum, bum. So since I'm in 6 contracts, if I want to take partials, I'll have to change this to whatever I want to take my partial as. So quantity 2, and I'll just right click and put in a buy limit. So I'll buy 2. That'll take 2 contracts off. Maybe I'll do it down here at the outer band as well. So what I've done is I've split targets. And if the market reaches our first target, this will adjust to 4. The main target will adjust to 4. The stop loss will adjust to 4. And then we'll see if they decide to hit our stop. Where is it? They may or may not. Who knows? And if they hit the stop instead of the targets, Kim, you'll have to cancel out whatever limit orders you put in. So if they decide to take us out of this trade instead of hitting our partials, we'll have to X these out. because they will remain active. And that's the most important part, because if you forget to do that, you're going to come back from lunch and be in a long position that you didn't want to be in. Cool. Practice it a few times on simulator. That's what I always tell people. Practice it a few times on simulator. Make sure that the mechanics are there. And guys, we're going to hold the trade. We're back inside of trouble, but we're just going to see what the stop does. Yeah, me too, Victor. Me too. If I get a full bar that prints above this area behaving as resistance, I may choose to exit this trade because now I'm trading directly into support. That's one of those lessons that can come around full tilt. It'll probably stop us out before that happens. And you can see on the large chart, guys, we're already on the wrong side of everything good. Would be absolutely floored if they didn't pull us out of this position. And there it is. Whoop. There we go. So because we get our stop hit, I have to cancel those out. And then guys, if this is the bottom of the range that you're hoping is behaving as resistance, and they start to get back up in there, you can manage this a little more assertively than I did. I let it run because I wanted to get the lesson of getting rid of those. Remember, entries is only one part of it. X amount. Just X amount. I don't know. Is there a way to go flat? Let's see. Let's get in a few. Is there a flatten? I've never seen it. I've never tried to do it. Is there a flatten button over here? I don't see one. So I can just X right out of a position. Morning, Wayne. And what did they do? They just pushed up higher, right? But now my rules aren't met. Now it's an area of support. And look how the whole thing shifted over here. So now we have to just wait and see what happens. Why do I have large triggers on this? I don't know. Do you want to repost it? Let's just repost it and we'll take a look at it. Nowhere to go. Guys, I don't mind doing stuff twice. Don't mind doing stuff twice. Trend is down. Strong side of the triggers. Room to trouble. I have no idea what happened up here, Wayne, but it looks like it pulled back to areas and closed below. Was it a trend trade, Wayne? Guys, if I can't see what happened before your entry, I have absolutely no idea. 3 in. Out at trouble. Well, can't be momentum because this one didn't have momentum yet. Three in at 46, directly into trouble. And you get paid again. 3 in at 43 below trouble. You get out at trouble. 39.7 just below trouble. Out at trouble. Guys, all this is Wayne saying everything is screaming south. My indicators are all down. I'm on the strong side of triggers. I'm developing odds favorable momentum. I know exactly where the areas are that can create a bounce. And Wayne says, I'll get in from below the area. I'll get out at the next area. I'll get in below the area. I'll get out at the next area. I'll get in below the area. I'll get out at the next area. I'll get in below the area. I'll get out at the next area. And guys, that's pretty freaking phenomenal. Because what Wayne said is every one of these areas can create a bounce. And Wayne, I'm just going to put words in your mouth because I know how your brain works at this point. Wayne said that could create a bounce. I'd rather get paid there than hope it doesn't. And I'd rather get paid there than hope it doesn't. And I'd rather get paid there. then hope it doesn't. And when it's all said and done, 354 ticks. At what? 10 bucks a tick? That's a hell of a way to make a living, Wayne. Is it a trend trade? No. Somebody with a lot of money wanted it to go down, Papa. Somebody with a lot of money wanted it to go down. That's it. They don't send out a memo. Hey, guys, this is why we did what we did. They don't tell you, oh, this is why we decided to push it down, right? Because for everybody that wants it to go down because we're bombing a country, there's an equal amount of people that want it to go up because we bombed a country. And whichever one gets the best footing wins in the moment. The triggers are up. They're breaking above. But it's not really momentum yet because they're not wide, which means I'm just not looking for a trade over here, which means that if it goes up, it's not my money. Two triggers through, losing momentum. It's just not my money. It doesn't fit a plan. Even if it goes up from here, only two triggers through, doesn't fit my plan. Well, now it's three. It's still divergence, Wade. It doesn't fit my plan. Divergence, that's it. That doesn't even count. Divergence is the biggest killer when you're hoping an area breaks. So let it break, right? Now it's four triggers through. Now it's odds favorable momentum. Now there's an area right at the bottom of inside of triggers. Two divergences doesn't faze me. Come get me. Now it fits the rules. These pink 1-to-1s are pretty insignificant on such a big chart. My smalls and large got above this divergence. My count is at 1 again. Even divergence here is only a second divergence. Let's see if they pull back to the area inside of triggers. If they do, I'm in a long trade. I'll put my stop right where the market shouldn't go if they get me. 5 ticks below. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The simple plan for new users says if your first target is reached, go break even. If you get a reversal bar, put it 2 stops below the reversal bar. But guys, our entry may be the bottom tick with all that momentum and path. $100, $200. This is the simple plan that you guys were given. Doesn't guarantee a winner. I know where the market shouldn't go. My stop is there. If they get me, they get me. If I get a reversal bar up, I'll be 2 ticks behind it. If they hit my stop, I'll go look for the next trade. There you go. I'll go look for the next trade. That's it. Consistency of execution. That's the plan. I would lose that trade all day long. All day long would I lose that trade. It fit my rules. Only 2 triggers through. Divergence kills it for my plan. No matter what my gut says, it's just not my trade. If I'm following the very simple plan, it says divergence, no trade, right? One of the reasons that Nexgen gives you such a basic, easy to follow, cast and concrete, no room for wiggle plan in the beginning is because, guys, your emotions suck. My gut sucks. It's never right. And when it is right, it's rare. It's usually a mistake. So there's little things that give you a higher chance of success. 1 divergence says no trade. 2 divergences says definitely no trade. Because it takes momentum to break areas. A divergence is a loss of momentum. And you can see the fight. If I want KISS plan results, I have to follow the plan. Look at that. That's an avoidable loss. Pretty cool, right? That's all we do. Here's a pattern that wins more than it loses. Take it every time it presents. Trina triggers up, strong side, room to trouble, pulls back to the area, closes above, and Trina makes all the money. What a beautiful trend trade, Miss Trina. Do you guys see it? First it's up. She's got room to get to trouble. She waits for the fight. She insists on a close above. And it's just giddy up, mama, all the way. That's the easy one. Triggers down, room to trouble, pulls back to the area, closes below, out at trouble. This was yesterday afternoon, wasn't it? Trina, I took the exact same trade over here. That was my add-on bar. I took all three off. I added the three back on your entry. Great minds, right? Great minds think alike. And fools seldom differ. Triggers down. Room to trouble. Pull back to the area. Close below. Look at the patience. Trina, I took the same one. Boom. How is it that somebody that's learning the methodology can take the exact same trades as the person that teaches it? I suppose it has something to do with one singular pattern, one approach. Check it out, Trina. You ready? Hold on. Rules met again. Put my three back on. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that may be a different one. Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. The coach and the player are just that good. Don, everybody can be that good. Trina has put in so much work into learning this pattern and so much work into asking for help and so much work. Look at it. Love it. Live it. Learn it. And what you're seeing Trina do is just really enjoy the spoils of her labor. Great job, Trina. You guys want to know what's hard? And I'm going to show you guys a quick something, and we won't even look at what the market does next. I know it reached a termination condition, right? And that entry looks perfect. I know my rules say no shorts, but the momentum is so good, right? Has anyone other than me done that? I know my rules aren't met. I see that my rules aren't met. There's no doubt in my mind that my rules aren't met. But let me justify why I can take this trade. And guys, it works. Every now and then, it works. I know my rules say don't take this trade with divergence, but I really want to be in it. And it loses. I know my rules say trade with momentum, but I really want this long trade. No areas inside, and it loses. I know my rules say don't trade into a termination condition, 78.15. I believe that was it right there. But it's such a great looking entry. I really want to be in this trade. And guys, you've got to work through your buts. You've got to work through your even though. You've got to work through, and there's got to be a point in your life where you're like, man, I know this could go down, but it doesn't fit my plan. I choose not to take it. There are so many things wrong with this short trade, and it works. You know what your rules say, but I really enjoy gambling. There you go, right? There's an old skit from Saturday Night Live called Bad Idea Jeans. Just Google it. It's hilarious. And it is. It's people knowing that they shouldn't and doing it anyway. All right, guys. I'm going to take 5 minutes. Um, I'm going to take 5 minutes. Nothing to do. They're down. There's your pullback. There's your close. Nope. Haven't gotten a close below the small triggers yet. Not yet. We won't for another 35 seconds. But these are down and there's room to trouble. And there's your pullback. And that was your first one. And it went right to the midband that created a bounce. And it never took out the pivot high. Uh-oh, stop lesson. Uh-oh, stop lesson. Some of you might still be in this trade. Some of you might be waiting for the timer to finish. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1, and say, okay, now it closed below. Let me put my stop where the market shouldn't go. It's locking up on me again. Well, never got a chance to put it where the market shouldn't go. I need to make this stop bigger. Just not enough time there on these. There we go. There's her close below. It's a little better, still not enough. Oh, there's one target. That's where the market shouldn't go. Oh, there's another target. Let's see if this one will go down to the fib. That's messy, but that's it, right? Triggers down, pull back, close below. We already made a little bit of money on it. There's the small chart target. If we wanted to, we could look for a big chart target. Does that make sense? Don, are you in it? And I'm up $600. Hell, I'm in this to make money. I'm going to lock in 80 bucks. I've already made money. I'm going into trouble. I'm not going to give it up. But whoa, that's coming from a great top and the whole trend changed and there's nothing in the way. Let's see if we can go to the next area. Does it fit the rules? That's the only question I ever ask. Does it fit the rules? You're working on your rules, Don? All right, let's annotate it. Whoops. Are you changing your rules already? So down, room, strong. All right, let me change font color. Only shorts. I can get paid. That's what room means to me. Strong. 1 minute. Areas more likely to break. Can use large chart targets. All right. So fight, try, fight, try. So there's actually 2 trend trades here. The initial stop goes above the pivot. That never gets hit. On the second trend trade, there's your stop. And we're still in it, aren't we? Right into trouble. We'll see what happens. Guys, it fits the rules 100%. I know that it does. I pulled the trigger. If I hadn't done all the nonsense with having too small of a stop and unable to move it, I would have been fine. So now we've got 2 options. It either goes to my target or we make 80 bucks. We could just call it break even if we wanted to. So now it's up to this 502785 fib. Is it going to break? If it does, that's awesome. Let's go to 84. That's an 80-point trade. I've got no risk. I have already made several $100s. Nothing bad can happen to me. And look at this. Now I've got 1-to-1s protecting me. I've got a mid-band protecting me. I've got all the momentum in the world. I'm on the strong side of the triggers. Let's see if they get us. Our final contract is a $1,500 target. That up bar represents a fight. The next down bar represents a failure. I can put my stop behind that little up-down blip because there has been a fight. There has been a failure. While it doesn't look like it on a 1-minute chart, that's a pivot. So now I have $175 locked in. It is so easy to sit still and do nothing when the worst case scenario is $175 on a final contract when you've already taken profits on the other three. And there they go. Strong side, bigger moves, 1-minute areas, more likely to break. Are there any questions about what we did, why we did it, where we did it, what it means? I'm telling you guys, it's the exact same trade that we have talked about all day long. It is the exact same pattern that we've talked about all day long. In my own trading life, my job is to get paid. I would probably say that would have been a good target. If they come back for me, fine. They can come get me. I don't give a shit. That's $720 in my pocket. I'll find another entry. That is what we call arbitrary stop placement. My job is to get paid, guys. So I either make $720 or I make $1,500. Can anybody in the room find a negative? But Mark, what if it stops you out and goes? Who cares? I made $720. It took me 3 minutes to do it. Guys, I'm a fancy high-priced lawyer at this point. And now I just relax. Or a plumber. Yeah, electrician. Definitely. I like that, RJ. I got a buddy that owns a commercial plumbing business. I think that's about what he makes every 3 minutes. There it goes. Go get it. Is everybody cool getting out at Fibonacci support on a 15-minute chart if it gets there? That feels like a pretty good exit, doesn't it? Feels like a decent spot. Ooh, look at that. These guys have some trouble in the way. Zoinks. I can't look at two platforms, guys. I will confuse myself. 100%. Oh, it's so close. You can do it, sellers. Get there, go there, hit it, come on. Oh! Congratulations, everybody. You took one trade with all the rules met. You took ridiculous first targets, didn't make any sense at all. And the last one went right to where the market was likely to go. Thank you, Wayne. And I'm not just the president, I'm also a member. You old guys will remember that. And it might run, right? Does anyone care if it runs without him? Does anyone care if it goes to the next level after you just made $1,600? I don't. Just don't care. There'll be more. There's always more. Outer band might create a bounce. Maybe they'll come back and give us another entry. Guys, I'll be back in 5 minutes. If you're not impressed, I want you to write me a strongly worded letter and tell me why. I'll see you in 5, guys. home stretch. Termination on the 15-minute chart. If those smalls get above the large here, we may find ourselves in a position to take an HVA trade. That is the third trade on the plan for you guys. No termination on trading view. Triggers are down. But there is nowhere to run here, which means that no rules are met for short trades over here. Bum, bum, bum. Triggers are up on the S&P. Pull back to an area. No up bars above. Just nothing to do. What's gold doing? Going nuts? Gold says, Mark, I don't know if we want to go up or down. You're probably better off just hanging out. Go fishing, brother. Okay, I'll do that. Still on the strong side, below trouble. Everything says down, just nothing to do. Crude oil, 3 triggers through. Not really a trade. There's the S&P coming off of that mid-band from a bad bottom. Now the smalls are getting below the large. Whoops. Now I'm messing stuff up. We'll see if it all comes together to show us a trade. Guys, what would you like to talk about? What can I do for you? What can I help you with? What's that thing that you're like, I don't even know how to ask this question? Just ask it. Show it to me in pictures. Cool. I'm going to mute. So when you guys need something, let me know. I'm going to be watching the room. But I'm going to mute and I'm going to kill the YouTube one real quick.